Okay, yesterday we practiced doing a little bit of division with two-digit divisors. Remember this? Mm-hmm. And there were two things we could do to find the starting point. Do you remember what the other one is? Estimate is right here.
Estimate and skip count.
You are so smart. So I'm going to write skip count down right here. Go ahead and write it. Oh, that's crooked. Okay, and when I estimate, I round the divisor to the nearest 10. What's the divisor?
90.
90. And it's already rounded for us, isn't it? Okay. So what number could I make 57 that 9 will divide evenly into?
56.
56, are you sure?
Yes. 54.
54, very good. So then 54 divided by 9 is what? 6. Okay. Now if I'm going to skip count, what do I skip count by? 90s, but I could actually do 9s, couldn't I?
Yeah.
And then add what? Okay. So go ahead and do that. You can stop at 63 if you want. All right, so let's take a look at how we find the starting point with skip counting. We just find the number closest to 572. Which number is closest to 572? Without going over.
104.
So circle that one. Okay? Then count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it the same?
Yes.
So I think we'll start with the 6. Now, where does the 572 go, Hayden?
In the 572.
On the doghouse. Where does the 572? In the doghouse. Or inside, right? And the 90 goes outside. Which one's the divisor, Cameron? No? 90. Okay. So this is what I think to myself. Will 90 fit into 5? No. Will 90 fit into 7?
No.
I mean 57?
No.
No. So we're going to try a 6 on the next one. Okay, 9 times 6, what is it?
54.
Good. And when you subtract, you get what number?
32.
Is 32 less than my divisor of 90?
Yes.
Okay, so write down R32. I've got to calibrate real quick.
Why do you have to do that?
The pen wasn't writing where I was pushing. Okay, when I checked this problem, did we use the highlighter yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, it makes a little triangle. Tell me what numbers, Fernando, that I need to multiply together.
32.
No. What do I start with? What do I multiply together?
96.
And, okay, everyone write that down. 90 times 6. Now, what do I do with that 32, Fernando? Do I multiply it in, or what do I do with it? Tucker, what do I do with the 32?
You gotta add.
I have to add it in, okay? So, I want to make sure you understand. After you check this 32 to make sure it's less than 90, you've got to add it in. So is 572 the dividend I started with?
Yes.
Okay, so that problem checks out. All right?
Yay.
That's the end of the lesson. Now let's work on the problem set. We're only going to do a little bit of it together, okay? All right. So let's start with, you want to start with the problems on the back? let's do a couple of these on the front. Okay. So take a look at B. What's the first step?
You have to put it in the doghouse.
Well, that's actually the second thing. Estimate or skip count, okay? Let's just estimate on these, okay? So round the divisor. Here is what I sometimes like to write, boys and girls, so I don't forget to estimate. Hayden, did you see what I wrote? This is going to remind me that I need to estimate on these to find a starting point, okay? I had several kids forget this step on their exit ticket, so that's why I'm giving you a little bit of a reminder, okay? Okay, so round your divisor to the nearest 10. Is it already rounded for you? What is the divisor?
30.
Okay. Now what number could I make 80 that 3 will divide into? Or what number could I make 8? My take? I could make it a 9 and make it 90, but I can't go above 80. 60. Very good. So 60 divided by 30. Yep, cross off the zeros, and what do I get for an answer?
20.
A 2. Good. Now, like Sadie said, let's put it in the doghouse or the division sign. Okay, what number goes inside, Daniel? 80 or 30? 80. Good. Now we know our starting point is going to be 2. We just have to decide where to write it. So here's what I asked myself. Will 30 fit into 8?
Yes.
No, it's way bigger than 8. Will 30 fit into 80?
Yes.
So that's where I write my 2 above the 0. Make sure you're writing all this. 3 times 2 equals 60, or 30 times 2. And when I subtract, what do I get?
20.
20. Now here's what I want you to check. Do you remember this? Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers?
Yes.
Or sell? I thought it was serve, sorry. So this C right here, according to your 6th grade math teacher, is the most important step. It's to check. Do you remember what you check?
Yeah. Check.
What do you check, lady? Divisor. Okay, so if the remainder is smaller than the divisor, you're good to go. You can go on to the next step. If there are more numbers, you can bring down numbers. Or if there are no more numbers, you simply write your remainder. Okay, Channing?
When Grace was in 3rd grade, it was Dad, Mom, sister, cat, brother.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I haven't ever been real pleased with the does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, because cheeseburgers is one word. Yeah. But we'll live with it. Don't forget to check. That's the most important step. I even had kids forget that today on their exit ticket. Okay? All right, so now that we know the remainder's less than the divisor, let's multiply to make sure we got the right answer. Daniela, what do I multiply? Would it help if I highlight?
Yes.
And you could circle with your pencil, couldn't you? Okay. So what do I need to multiply, Daniela? 30 times
20.
Not 20, 2. Fernando, you've got to leave that remainder to the end. Okay. So that is 60. And Fernando, what do I add in now?
20.
Very good. Does 80 match the dividend I started with?
Yes.
Okay, please write down all those steps, because when you work with a partner, well, you don't have to write down does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Okay, but write down the rest of them. When you work with a partner, you're going to need to have all of those steps. So you have to estimate, you have to do long division, and you have to check with multiplication and addition. Okay? Do we need to practice one more, or you think you're good?
We're good.
Okay, so let's look at the back, because these are fun problems. And they won't take us very long at all.
FX is good?
No, the back of the problem set. Okay, Hayden, I need to know you're with me. All right, Terry says the solution to 299 divided by 40 is 6 with the remainder of 59. And you can see his work right here. It says his work is shown below. Explain Terry's error in thinking and then find the correct quotient using the space to the right. Now I want you to study this problem. And I want you to think about what we just talked about. And I want you to see if one of those steps is the error. Well, first of all, there is no bring down in this problem, is there? Okay, Julian, what do you think?
Check.
The check. What's wrong with it? The remainder is larger than the divisor. Is 59 larger than 40?
Yes.
He made that mistake, didn't he? So let's fix it. Instead of a 6, now if you're working along and this happens to you, do you know what to do to fix it?
No.
Instead of it means that you chose a number that's too small up here. So if your remainder is too big, you need to go up a number, at least one. Okay? Let's try a 7. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay. So over here, write down a 7. 7 times 4, what is it?
28.
Add your 0. Subtract. Is 19 a lot better than 59?
Yes.
Is 19 less than the divisor?
Yes.
So go ahead and write it down. And it doesn't say you have to check his work. So we're good to go on this one, okay? So what do you do if your remainder's too high, Tucker? What do you do if your remainder's too big?
Try a different kind of number.
Try another number. Should you go higher or lower?
Lower. Higher.
Higher, okay? See, he tried a 6. So what do we try?
7.
Okay, and some of it's trial and error. Okay, let's look at number 3. Says a number, I love this problem. A number divided by 80 has a quotient of 7 with 4 as a remainder. Find the number. So this is, now, I don't think I can draw a tape diagram on this, but I can use a variable. So I'm going to use, that's a letter. So I'm going to use an N for number, because we don't know the number, do we?
No.
A number divided by 80 has a quotient, that means equals 7 remainder 4. Okay? Now, this is kind of like a little mystery question. Okay? We have to figure out what N is. We've got to figure out the number.
Like on the tape diagram.
Sort of, yes. So I think the best thing to do let's put this in the regular long division format. So Maite, help me. What's my divisor?
The 8.
The 80. So where does a divisor go?
Outside.
Outside. Okay? What's my quotient? 7 remainder 4. Where does that usually go?
At the end.
That's right, at the top. So everyone write that down. Now, Kimberly, where do you think the N goes? Because we've only got one missing place. You agree? Yep, that's what we don't know. We don't know the dividend. Yep, has to be lowercase. Okay, so how can I figure out what N is? Think about it. Don't shout it out.
Divide.
Just think about it for a minute. We don't know the number we started with. Halen, what do you think I could do? Should I give you a hint? How do I check a problem, boys and girls?
Do you add?
I do
You multiply.
divisor times quotient and then plus the remainder. So the remainder of 4 would have been down here, right? Okay, so how can I check this problem, Halen? What am I going to multiply here? 80 times 7. What's 8 times 7? Hayden, write this down. 560. What do you think I do next, Jay?
Plus 4.
Plus 4, because I have to add my remainder. So I get a total of 564. Could that possibly be
Yes.
what N is?
Yes.
It sure is. So there you have a strategy for figuring out your dividend, the number that goes in the doghouse. Okay? So this is how you write it. N equals 564. Okay, now make sure you wrote all that down. Okay, so I like the next problem too. Okay, everyone focus. I feel like you're kind of spacing, thinking about the aliens or something, okay? All right. While swimming a 2-kilometer race, Adam changes from breaststroke to butterfly every 200 meters. Are you picturing that swimmer in the pool in your mind? And how they touch the end and flip over and go back? I know, that's so cool. How many times did he switch strokes during the first half of the race? Okay, so there's several things we need to do. I notice it's a 2-kilometer race, but he switches every 200 meters. So the first thing, what do you think, Ureli? What's the first thing I have to figure out? You did very well on this, on your test. What do you have to figure out? How many meters are in 2 kilometers? Okay, so let's write that formula. It has 3 equal signs. Does this ring a bell? Okay. So now I start with, well, I don't think I need to put my label there. 2 copies of 1 kilometer. Write that down. Did you already write it? And then what am I converting to, Lainey?
Meters.
Meters. So how many meters are in 1 kilometer? 1,000. So I'll go 2 copies of 1,000 meters. So the answer here is 2,000 meters in the whole race. Now what does the question say?
How much time did he switch strokes?
During the first half of the race. Okay, so my question here is, how much is the first half of the race? Go ahead, tell me. 1,000 meters, okay? And how often did he switch strokes?
Every 200.
Every 200 meters. So he would go probably 4 times, and then he would switch strokes, okay? So how do I figure out how many times he had to switch when he was swimming 1,000 meters? You think it's multiply or divide?
Divide.
You are so smart. What am I going to divide by?
200.
200. Now, how many zeros would I cross off here? Write this down.
2.
Very good. So my problem here is 10 divided by 2. What's your answer? 5. So how many times did he switch strokes?
5.
5 times. So Adam switches strokes 5 times in the first half of the race. So how many total times did he have to switch? 10 for the whole race, okay? All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a partner, and I want you to go back and finish the first page of your problem set. Do you remember how to work with a partner?
Yeah. Can I go with my